Chapter 3549. When the people heard this, they naturally agreed to do so. They all know Charlie very well, know his low profile, since he does not let leak, the crowd naturally will not disobey. Charlie looked at Changfeng and said, "The matter of giving up the throne to Jiu should be announced to the public, otherwise I am worried that she will not be able to establish her authority in the Su family." Changfeng hurriedly nodded and said, "That's right, that's right. Today I am repenting in front of Mr. Wade's parents' spirit, and tomorrow I will officially announce this matter to the public. Let Jiu take over smoothly." "Good." Charlie nodded with satisfaction and said, "After the agreement is signed, the news is announced, and the handover of rights is completed, I will arrange for someone to send you to Madagascar. As long as you cooperate well, what things you need to take to Madagascar, what people you take, as long as they are not too exaggerated, I will not interfere, you can seize the time to have people prepare." Changfeng said with immense excitement, "Thank you, Mr. Wade. Thank you, Mr. Wade. I'm going to take my butler Anson with me and have him prepare the supplies and team for Madagascar." At this time, Anson, who was waiting for Changfeng's triumph at Su's home, never dreamed that his master, who had already made up his mind, would take him along to Madagascar. And at this time, Charlie said to Zhongquan, "The people of the Cataclysmic Front and the Su family will just kneel like this for now, and our ancestral sacrifice ceremony will proceed as usual later." Zhongquan hurriedly said, "Then I'll have everyone prepare to get ready." Charlie nodded, and when he saw Helena in the crowd, who had some difficulty blending in with the surrounding area, he said to Zhongquan, "By the way, don't forget to arrange a Concorde this afternoon to send Helena back to her country." Zhongquan immediately said, "Don't worry, Charlie, I have already arranged the plane, it can take off anytime." At this time, Helena gathered the courage to walk up to Charlie and said in a respectful tone, "It's hard for you to worry about my affairs, Mr. Wade." Charlie saw that she seemed to have some words to say, so he spoke, "Helena, don't worry, since I said I would help you take back the throne, I will definitely keep my promise." Helena immediately sighed with relief and nodded her head gratefully, "Thank you, Mr. Wade." Said, Helena hesitated, again and again, still spoke, "Mr. Wade, I just received a message from home, things may have changed a bit over there." Charlie frowned and asked, "What news?" Helena said, "It is said that yesterday Olivia and the Rothschild family representatives talked late at night, they have reached a preliminary agreement on the marriage, ready to be officially announced to the public at 10 o'clock a.m. local time today. Olivia will marry a member of the Rothschild family, and the wedding time is set for tomorrow night." Charlie was surprised and asked, "Rothschild family? Is that Olivia in love with the Rothschild family man?" Helena spoke, "As far as I know, Olivia does not have a boyfriend at all, and the Nordic royal family and the Rothschild family did not have any previous encounters, so this matter is a bit sudden." Charlie heard the name of the Rothschild family, could not help but frown. Chapter 3550. Although Charlie always knew that the Rothschild family was a mortal enemy with his father back then, and also thought that the Rothschild family was probably behind the murder of his parents, but he never had the opportunity to have any direct contact with Rothschild. The only one who has a little connection with the Rothschilds is still Walter Horowitz and his dad, Steve Hogowitz, who were locked up in a dog farm by him. The Horgowitz family, it is said, is a distant relative of the Rothschilds. This distant relative relationship is really a bit far, so much so that the two masters have been missing for so long in Oris Hill, and the Rothschild family has not come to look for them. This shows that families like Hogwarts, in the eyes of the Rothschild family, are simply poor relatives who are avoided at best. However, this time that Olivia actually wants to marry the Rothschild family, which makes Charlie up a few interests. So, he opened his mouth and asked, "Why did Olivia suddenly decide to get married at this time? Isn't the queen not going to last for a few days?" Isn't it a bit inappropriate for her to get married at this time? Helena was busy saying, if Olivia wants to get married in the near future, now is the most appropriate time. Once grandmother dies, she won't be able to get married for a long time. Charlie was surprised and asked, what? Your Nordic royal family also has the saying that you can't get married for a period of time after the death of an elder. Helena shook her head and said, although we don't have this saying, but Olivia's status is special, she is the first in line to the throne, so once grandmother dies, she must put down all her personal affairs and put the enthronement ceremony first. Saying that, Helena added, according to the royal tradition, the new emperor may not get married or divorced within 3 years after ascending the throne, because the first 3 years of ascending the throne is a critical stage for establishing one's personal as well as royal image. And no personal matters are allowed to interfere at such times, so Olivia either has to hold the wedding as the empress 3 years after ascending the throne, or she must first, before grandmother dies, get the wedding done. Charlie asked suspiciously, according to what you said, she didn't even have a boyfriend before, and now she suddenly announces that she wants to marry a member of the Rothschild family, so it should be an exchange of interests, right? Helena nodded and said, I guess so. Olivia will always put interests first. Without strong interests to support her, there is no way she would suddenly announce that she wants to get married at this time. Charlie nodded and laughed. The Rothschild family, for sure, has their eyes on the empress status that she will soon get to. Speaking of this, Charlie couldn't help but sneer. I just didn't expect that the Rothschild family, which has its hands in Europe and the United States, would also be the ones who sell their fame, which is a bit different from their usual low-key style of acting. Joseph spoke respectfully at this time, Mr. Wade. I still have some knowledge of the Rothschild family. Their family structure is extremely large, leaving aside foreign relatives, just the branch has dozens of surnames, throughout Europe and America. He continued, within the huge Rothschild family, they are divided into a total of 3 levels of ladder, which, the first ladder Rothschild family real core, these core layer is basically in the United States. A small number in the United Kingdom, the next level of the second ladder is generally in Canada, France and Germany, and the third ladder, in other countries in Europe. I reckon this one to marry Princess Olivia is a branch of the Rothschild family's third order ladder. Charlie nodded gently and said with interest, in that case, this is a good opportunity to make direct contact with the Rothschild family. When Jonquan heard this, he immediately exclaimed, Charlie. You don't want to go to Northern Europe, do you? Charlie laughed. Originally, I did not want to go personally, but since the Rothschild family is also there, then I really want to go and see it. After saying that, he turned his head to Helena and said, Helena, when the ancestral ceremony is over, I will go to Northern Europe with you. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel for new updates. Give me a thumbs up if you like this video and leave a comment. Thank you very much. God bless and keep safe everyone.